Caravaggio was a famous painter from the 1600s. And if you've ever seen his work, you know he's got a rather distinctive style. It's pretty easy to kind of notice, oh, that's a Caravaggio. The characters, if you want to call them that, the figures in his paintings are usually in some dynamic pose. There's several characters in the same scene. And so there's like this sense of movement, there's this sense of activity, there's a sense of emotion. But what he's most famous for in his style is called chiaroscuro, which is it's a way of using lights and darks. It's a tonal thing. So the darks are really dark in his paintings, and the lights are really light. And so that creates this high contrast experience when you're looking at it. I think of it as it kind of looks like someone is shining a flashlight into a dark room. You feel that the shadows are really dark and the bright parts are really light. So like he's got several famous paintings, but maybe think of the Calling of St. Matthew. You've got Matthew seated at one end of a long table, and he's like a tax collector, so he's got like piles of coins, and he's like hovered over these coins, and there's a few other figures in the painting. And then you got Jesus has just walked in the door at the other end of the table, and he's just pointing at Matthew. And the light's coming from behind him, and the light lights up his hand, and the light lights across the table and lights up Matthew. It's a really dramatic scene, really a beautiful painting. But when I look at a Caravaggio painting, because of this chiaroscuro experience, this high contrast thing, it feels like his paintings are kind of making the point that light always overwhelms darkness. The scene could feel dark without that bright light coming in to kind of show what's really there, to show the beauty that's there, the truth that's there, the goodness that's there. The light will always overwhelm the darkness. So Jesus seems to be playing with that theme a little bit with our gospel today. Jesus tells us that we are the lights of the world, and he wants us to be like a bright city on a mountain that can be seen from miles around, or be like a lamp that's set on a lampstand, not covered by a basket, which would be a fire hazard anyway. So let the light, light up the room. That's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be light in the midst of the darkness. But when we think about the darkness of the world, that can just feel overwhelming. How are we, with the light that we have, supposed to overwhelm the darkness of this world? You can look around in the news, right? Russia, Ukraine, Iran, Father Paul's country of Myanmar, Cuba, Sudan. Like, there is so much going on, and that's to say nothing about what's going on in our own country. And our hearts are broken. We can get really discouraged looking at the state of the world. How is the light going to overcome the darkness? Thankfully, we've read the end of the Bible. We know how the story ends. We know that Christ wins at the end of the day. We know that if we are united to Jesus, then we will also be victorious over sin and death. But we might be in the midst of a time where we're going to have to deal with some greater sufferings right now. But we don't have to be discouraged because we do know the end of the story. And, sorry, I almost prefaced my homily with this. My mind is scattered today. We got a new bishop announced today, so I went to the opening mass and everything, so my mind is just a little all over the place. So anyway, great news. I'm very excited for Bishop Golka, soon to be Archbishop Golka. So we can get overwhelmed and we can get discouraged looking at the state of the world, but we're not supposed to do it by ourselves. It's not like Jesus says, you're the light of the world, you fix it. He also says in the Gospel of John that he is the light of the world. He says it multiple times. He says, I am the light of the world. I am the light of the world. Well, which is it? Is he the light of the world or are we the light of the world? Both is, in a way, the answer. We're only the light of the world insofar as we're in Jesus. He's really the light of the world. He's really the one who overcomes all the sin and all the brokenness and the violence and the ugliness in this world. He's the only one who overcomes the darkness. But if we're willing to let him dwell in us, then we become part of the light of the world as well. In our baptism, our godparents are handed a candle. Our parents are handed a candle at our baptism. To signify that the light of Christ now dwells in us, starting in the moment of our baptism. The light of the world dwells in us. If we're willing to let Jesus dwell in us and shape our hearts, then we will change the world. It may not be as dramatic as we would like it to be. Maybe we would like to fix what's happening on the other side of the world. Maybe we do want to fix what we see happening in our country, but we don't have the power to do so. That's okay. The Lord doesn't expect you to fix all the world problems by yourself. But together, as a people, if we all choose to live according to the life that Jesus has called us to live, if we live converted lives, we are going to change the world. I think it's interesting looking at the Gospels. Jesus lived in a time of the Roman Empire, which had its virtues, sure. But the Roman Empire had a lot of problems. There were a lot of injustices happening in the Roman Empire at that time. And Jesus doesn't say a word about it in the Gospels. He doesn't complain about Caesar, even though Caesar claims to be a god, right? There's clearly a falsehood there, leading people into false worship. There's clearly problems with Herod, Herod's own corruption, his own disgusting sins. Jesus doesn't talk about it. He doesn't point to the darkness and make a big deal of the darkness. He just focuses on being the light and bringing the light in, because the light naturally scatters the darkness. And it seems to me that you and I are called to do the same, especially for the stuff that we can't fix. What's the point in always staring at the darkness if I can't do anything about the darkness? If I can shed some light on the darkness, great, right? Show the corruption, whatever that needs to be brought to the light, fine. Speak truth in the situations, absolutely. But if it's outside of our control, we're not doing anybody a favor, ourselves included, by overly focusing on the darkness. Jesus wants us to be light. Bring the light in the world. Bring Jesus into the world. Choose to be love. Choose to be mercy. And so today, we grow close to Jesus in this Eucharist. We ask that Jesus, who is the light of the world, would transform our hearts so that we would also be the light of the world.